If you have a spreadsheet ready to go with all of your customers, you can import into QuickBooks by copying and pasting the columns. To get started doing that, you can first go into whatever program you're currently using that has your customers and export them. If you're given the option on how to export them, choose either Excel or comma-separated values. That way, you can open it up in a spreadsheet program and import it. To get started importing, click Customers from the home screen. Select Excel from the top of the screen and then choose Paste from Excel. You'll notice that there is an option to import from Excel right above it, but right now, they both go to the same place. It's going to bring you to the Add, Edit, Multiple List Entry screens. It's important to know that this list can be used to import all sorts of things, not just customers. For example, on the left-hand side, you can see that we're currently importing the customer list. But if you click the black triangle next to it, you'll see that you can also import vendors, service items, inventory, and non-inventory parts this way. So this can be a very quick way to get your entire product list into QuickBooks also. Just follow the exact same method that we're going to use for this video. The first thing that you might want to do is customize the columns that you see here. This is going to be dependent on what your spreadsheet looks like and the type of data that you exported. On the top right-hand side of the screen, click Customize Columns. Here's the columns that are currently showing up. You can change these. Your list might end up looking completely different from mine. For example, if I don't need to clutter up this view with a middle initial field, I can select it and choose Remove. I can also add columns at any time. For example, over here on the left, I can choose the Customer Type field and click Add. Now it shows up on the right. If I want to get that further over on the list, I can click Move Up to bump it to the top of the list. I'll click the blue OK button, and I can see that my changes have been made. Let's start importing. I'm going to go into File Explorer, and in the exercise files, I have a customer list ready to go if you don't have one of your own. When I double-click on the file, it's going to open up in Excel. That might not be what you're using, and that's okay. Even though it says Excel in QuickBooks, we're just pasting in data. We're not necessarily getting it from Excel. So if you use another spreadsheet program like Google Sheets or OpenOffice, it will work just fine. Let's start copying and pasting. The first thing I'm going to do is choose the name field. I can click and drag to highlight all the rows that I'd like to import. I'll right-click and choose Copy. From here, I can go back into QuickBooks, find the name field, right-click in the first empty row and choose Paste. The name field gets populated. I also have a first name and a last name field. I can fill these out by going back to my spreadsheet. Since these two columns are right next to each other, I can select both of them. I'll right-click and choose Copy again. I'll go back to QuickBooks. And I only need to right-click in one column, the first name column. I'll right-click and choose Paste. You'll see that both columns get populated with data. I'll scroll over and let's get the address in there. Now there's a few more things I want to show you. I'll scroll back to the beginning. If at any time you decide you don't need any of these rows, or perhaps something that you already thought was imported was listed in your customer field, you can right-click on any particular row and choose Delete Line. You can also choose to populate fields all at once. For example, here's my customer type field. It would be very time-consuming to go down each row and choose the customer type. In this case, let's imagine that they're all restaurants. And now I can right-click and choose Copy Down. It's going to fill every row with the same value. Now that we're all done, I'll click the blue Save Changes button at the bottom. It's going to tell me that my customer records have been saved. I'll click the blue OK button, click Close, and now I can see that I have a nicely populated customer list.